CEOS absolutely meeting our targets, just like we spoke about in yesterday's analysis. Let's go ahead and go over the probabilities now. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with a CEOS, technicals, raw price action, and statistical thread of analysis on this happy Thursday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, so yes, we're looking at CEOS on the daily chart here, and we're going to reference volatility versus momentum. And this is actually something that I ran a back test before we got this upside, right? So what we're looking at here, or the conditions, better said, right, is any time that volatility has actually expanded into critical volatility, which is within the 90 percentile, and started a contraction phase alongside an upside pivot from the stochastic momentum oscillator. I have taken or ran a back test manually, by the way, like by hand, throughout the entire trading history of the CEOS asset on the daily time frame. Okay, so anytime that has happened, I've taken note of the iteration's duration, the iteration's upside thrust, and the amount of times that volatility versus momentum profile have guessed the upside correctly versus incorrectly. Okay, so all of these are the samples for that statistical backtest, right? So you can go ahead and just take a look like this, so you can see that it's, in fact, throughout the entire trading history, right? So yeah, this is a manual backtest, right? So this is just how crazy things can get for the real world of trading. Okay, so if you are in this channel, then I assume that you're in it because you are looking at actual trading, right? So what I mean by that is by statistics and probabilities, mathematical models, just like the institutions and market makers that we so hate do, right? So let's go ahead and look at this now. So out of a total 31 iterations throughout the entire trading history of the CEOS asset, 25 of those iterations were guessed correctly to the upside, giving us an averaged upside accuracy of 80 spots, 64%, with an averaged upside thrust of 161 spot, 82% over the span of about 22 and a half days. This is proof of work right over here. All right, so that signal already fired. The signal actually fired right down here, okay? So now we actually have continued on to the upside. We were talking about yesterday, if you remember correctly, I'm not sure if it was in the live stream or if it was in the actual dedicated video I released, but in one of those, I spoke about the conservative versus the aggressive trader. Okay, so I spoke about the conservative trader waiting for the run up to actually run to our, literally, we were talking about 515 yesterday, before a pullback to our current day's highs, this was yesterday's candle, right? So we would expect a pullback to yesterday's highs before a continuation to the upside. Okay, so the aggressive trader would try to gain entry like right away and then run up this and then they face a pullback, right, if they didn't take profits right at this area. The conservative trader would have waited for the pump to the upside and followed by the drop all the way back to our current highs of the previous day, which is exactly what happened. And I can actually show you like this. So this little, I know it's going to be very hard for you to see this little yellow hue back here. I can actually just, maybe I can turn that up just a little bit, or turn the visibility up on that just a little bit, because that actually represents the after hours trading, right? So this right here, let me just go ahead and show you. See that? So that is the after hours trading, right? So at the beginning of today's session is what I'm talking about. Okay, so we were talking about the likelihood of going all the way up to about 515, rejecting the 515, coming back to our previous day's high, which is about 422 at this case, but we were talking about 440, right? So we did retrace back to that 422 area, and then we continued on to the upside just like we said. Okay, so this is very good. And in fact, the signal is just even more suggesting an upside, right? So this is the oval that we've been talking about. We definitely want that. We definitely want the contraction phase to start from pardon me, from critical volatility, and we definitely want that upside pivot from the stochastic momentum oscillator. Okay, those conditions are absolutely met and now suggesting an upside, and statistically speaking, we have an 80% probability for it, close to 81, so not bad whatsoever. Okay, so Yeah, so now let's go ahead and continue on the analysis here, as I do have a few things to show you. All right, so and now particular to this chart here, okay, so this is a buy formation that we have here within a macro ascending channel, okay, so this is a huge ascending channel that we've been riding since about, let's see, yeah, October 2009. Okay, so we talked about the probabilities of coming back to test this bottom side. You know, before we actually reached this area, we had this demand zone listed there for two reasons. First of all, because it would be very close to the broadening descending, I'm sorry, to the descending channel, to its newly converted what was a resistance. You see all these resistance touches against that white line. It's now converted into a support. So you can see with that we broke out of this, but we never came back to test it as a support. Right, so yes, it didn't come right to it, but we did validate the support of the upper channel. Okay, so this is very good. So this is why we had a range of support rather than just one solid area. It's better to look at things as probabilities than to look at them as certainties, right? So because the stock market, there's definitely nothing certain about it. And in fact, the only thing certain about the stock market is that it is constant. Okay, you guys, so let's go ahead and look at this bounce. Okay, so yes, we're looking at a potential macro scale reversal at this point. Why am I saying that? Well, because we failed the channel, created a massive macro scale bear trap here, and now we reclaimed the inside of it and we validated that support, which is the most important thing we could have done. Okay, so yes, this is suggesting a potential continuation to the upside in a macro perspective. Okay, you guys, so you're looking at a series of higher lows. We have a complete series of higher highs. So this is a very, very bullish setup happening for this ticker. Okay, you guys, so let's go ahead and now move on to the last part of the analysis, which is actually going to be the divergence chart, which is, if you don't know what divergence is actually the opposition of price action versus momentum. And in this case, momentum represented by this indicator RSI, relative strength index. Okay, so we have what you're looking at here are 1, 2, 3, and 4 drives. 4 drives of hidden bullish divergence on the daily chart. So this carries a lot of weight, and we have absolutely validated and confirmed that bullish divergence, and we're still suggesting an upside. Yes, we are coming up to a resistance on the 14-day simple moving average, but we'll go ahead and look at why that is. Okay, as there are I mean, right away, just with a naked eye, I can actually just tell you real quick that we can face resistance tomorrow at about 545. And or 551. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and leave a trend line there for our review later. Okay, you guys. So very good, very good. All right, so now let's go ahead and open up a multi-pane so that we can see the potentials for tomorrow, starting from the immediate short-term time frame, like we always do, right? The 30-minute time frame. Okay, so please go ahead and notice that we're about to cross that 14-day simple moving average represented by the pink line. The signal, your RSI signal, is the purple line. Okay, so I have expressed to you the bullishness of crossing a moving average when it's on an uptrend. Okay, so this is definitely bullish. Okay, so we're looking at the 30 minutes. So yes, it is likely to live out pretty fast, but it is suggesting an upside nonetheless. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the 4-hour time frame. As you can see, we still have an upside pivot here. We have definitely made a cross above that 14-day simple moving average, and we're approaching the gravitational zone of the bear weakness percentile. Okay, so this is very important, and it would likely pull us up. All right, so go ahead and notice that the 8-hour time frame is yet even closer to that gravitational zone of the bear weakness percentile. Okay, we have crossed above that 14-day simple in a very aggressive manner, by the way, and we can see a sharp pivot towards the upside now. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the daily and see what it's got. We already looked at the daily. We said that we were about to face a little bit of resistance there, likely at about 555 or 550 something, but it is there. Okay, notice that the 12-hour is already bound to cross that 14-day simple moving average, which is very bullish. All right, so now referencing the bi-daily time frame, we are right at the gravitational zone of the bear weakness percentile, suggesting an upside continuation even still. Okay, so there is quite the distance to that 14-day simple moving average in comparison to the RSI signal itself. Okay, so if we were to kind of take into consideration what's happening there in the bi-daily, then we can potentially see a resistance touch. Man, no way. Wow, this is very good. All right. So yeah, it's actually suggesting a resistance touch right at the same area that we were looking at in the shorter time frames, around 550. All right, but it's okay. That's just a short term pivot. It's normal. This is why the candles go up and they go down. You see the wick there, right? So we'll face that resistance from this area, come back down, continue on to the upside, and so on, right? So that's just the natural ebb and flow of the market cycle. All right, you guys. So now let's go ahead and just take a look at a very important metric here, and this is the 5-day RSI, as we did get both of the 3-day and 5-day closures just today. Okay, so please notice that the 3-day is still suggesting a massive upside, and now the 5-day is about to cross, just like I mentioned, how bullish it is to cross an upside or an upside. I'm sorry. A moving average on the upside like this, crossing above it is absolutely bullish, okay? Just like we spoke about in the 30-minute. So this is definitely suggesting a continuation to the upside for days coming in, just like I suggested the last time, okay? The last time we reached this bottom area, I suggested we were going to move to the upside for days and days, and we definitely did. All right, okay, you guys, so this is happening again, essentially, all right? So, and I signaled it yesterday, or the day before. I'm sorry, I don't even know when it was, right? But it was in respects to a very kind person in the Discord community. Biana, thank you so much for everything you do for the community. Really excited to be covering this ticker yet again and presenting an opportunity for the retail community, right? Thank you again for everything you do. So let's go ahead and just finish off this analysis here, you guys. We are definitely looking at an upside continuation tomorrow. Please remember 555 to about 550, a quick resistance right there, followed by a retracement to test our current highs, whether it be at about 514 or about 499. That should be fine still. All right, you guys, and then we shall continue on that upward ascent, onwards and upwards, right? So please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy or sell any assets whatsoever, okay? Please do your own due diligence and everything will be just fine, you guys, all right? So refer to the links in the description below if you would like to join the ARCa Bulls trading community. And also if you want to go ahead and say hi to me on Twitter, okay, you guys? So with that said, I wish you well, a very, very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.